I bought the DJI Mini 2 exactly 1 year ago. Is it still worth it after 1 year? Let's have a look. So when I bought the DJI Mini 2, I chose the Fly More combo. Because of the extra batteries, the battery charger and the bag, I still find the Fly More combo a lot more interesting to buy than the standalone version. The DJI Mini 2 weighs less than 250 grams, which means that in many countries you don't need to be certified or follow a drone training to fly the Mini 2. However, you should always be careful not to break any local rules or laws related to drone flying. So always check the legislation in your own country. The drone is also very quiet while flying. It doesn't make much noise when taking off, and as soon as you go higher a bit, you won't hear it anymore at all. Personally, I find that a big advantage, as I prefer not to draw too much attention with the drone, and the DJI Mini 2 is ideal for this. The Mini 2 drone is so small that it fits in your pocket and is easy to take with you wherever you go. Because it's so small and weighs so little, in theory it could be affected more by the wind, but in practice I haven't noticed much of this. If you let it hover, it always stays nicely in place, and even when flying in windy weather conditions, I never really had any problems with the drone. That said, be wise and don't fly it in a storm, and also over sea you should always watch out for gusts of wind that can push the drone further out to sea. Losing the drone over land is not good, but losing it over water is even worse. Apart from the sensors at the bottom, which are used for landing, there are no other sensors for obstacle avoidance. So if you fly the drone straight into a wall, it will just crash into the wall. DJI does have other drones that can avoid obstacles, but they are a lot more expensive, and it would also be tricky for DJI to put extra sensors in such a small form factor of the Mini 2. But honestly, I see the lack of sensors for obstacle avoidance rather as an advantage. It may be the hardest way to become a good drone pilot, but I also think it's the best way. You will pay more attention on what you are doing when you don't have sensors than when you do have sensors and you don't really need to pay attention. Due to the lack of obstacle avoidance sensors, I did manage to crash the drone a couple of times when I was learning how to fly the drone. A few times against a tree or some branches, and once I even crashed quite hard into a wooden bench in a park. When I saw that happening, I thought for sure that the drone would be completely destroyed. But the only damage to the drone was a slightly cracked propeller, which was very easy to replace with the accessories that come with it. My Mini 2 still looks like new after a year. It barely even has a scratch. I have also flown in rain and snow, and even in cold or foggy weather there can be some condensation on the drone, but it has always survived without any issues. So the build quality of the DJI Mini 2 is really excellent. What about the batteries? Well, after a year my 3 batteries have been charged dozens of times, but they are not showing anywhere at all. I can still easily get about 25 minutes of flight time on one battery, depending on the weather conditions and the mode you fly in. For example, in sport mode, the battery will drain faster than in cine mode. But all in all, there is little to no wear on the batteries after a year. In theory, you should always have a visual line of sight with the DJI Mini 2, so you can't or shouldn't fly very far, but that's not a problem anyway with the OcuSync 2.0 transmission protocol, which always ensures a good connection between controller and drone. Way better than the Wi-Fi transmission between the previous Mini and the old controller. Because of the OcuSync, the remote control is quite big, even bigger than the drone. But the controller lies so firmly in your hands and is very nice and easy to control that I have completely forgotten about how big it is. The drone takes photos and footage in 4K at 30 frames per second maximum, and the image quality is really good, especially considering how small the drone is. Of course, a Mavic Air 2S or Mavic 3 will provide better image quality, but these are high-end drones from DJI, and they come with a more expensive price. Both the standalone drone and the Fly More combo have dropped a bit in price compared to last year. But there are also a few alternatives on the market with about the same dimensions, weight and features. Think of the Autel Nano Plus that even has obstacle avoidance on board in the same form factor, but you pay almost twice as much for that drone as you do for the DJI Mini 2. After 1 year of using the DJI Mini 2, I am still very satisfied with this drone, and it has already given me a lot of flying pleasure and beautiful photos and footage. If you look at the weight of the Mini 2, the small form factor, the build quality and the camera quality, and then compare that with the price, then as far as I'm concerned, there is currently no better drone in this category than the DJI Mini 2. Take care, see you in the next one, bye bye.